the Buffalo Bills found a way to do it again. The Bills found a way to lose again to the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This time, 27-24 in heartbreaking fashion again, thanks to wide right again. The Buffalo Bills have been eliminated before the AFC Championship. Again, Josh Allen has lost to Patrick Mahomes again. And once again, Sean McDermott and his defense has disappointed in the biggest moment and the playoffs. Say it with me. Again. But my whole concept for making this video is to answer a question. Should you be panicked? Should the Bills Mafia be panicked? Is the Bills Super Bowl window closed? Slam shut? Will the Bills ever win a Super Bowl? Will they ever raise the Lombardi with Josh Allen? Should you, as a fan base, be panicked? Let your brother from Pat's Nation address this topic. If your takeaway versus the Kansas City Chiefs is that Josh Allen is not him, is that Josh Allen is not the answer, is not great, is not one of the best, if not the most talented quarterback in all of football, if your takeaway is that Josh Allen choked in that game, first of all, you need an eye exam, sir. Or ma'am. You need an eye exam. Get your eyes checked. Because Josh Allen was superb. Josh Allen was the reason you nearly won that game. Once again, leading the team in rushing. Once again, with multiple touchdowns on the ground. Once again, doing his thing through the air. One of his most surgical performances through the air we've seen all season. 0 turnovers. I thought that was the problem. Josh Allen is the only quarterback in NFL history to not make a Super Bowl when having 50 total touchdowns in a season. And he's done it twice in his career. Twice. 50 total touchdowns, regular season, postseason, and he didn't make the Super Bowl. Are you serious? Who's to blame? It's certainly not Josh Allen. There's a lot of other people to blame. But I think the first thing I must address is that I fell into the trap once again. I fell into the trap believing that Sean McDermott, for some reason, it would be different this time. For some reason, against the Chiefs, he would have answers for Patrick Mahomes, for Andy Reid, for that offense, for that scheme. He would actually be able to draw up a game plan to cover Travis Kelce. But once again, in the playoffs, I was proven wrong. Once again, Sean McDermott's defense in the biggest moment, it doesn't matter if it's ranked first in the NFL in the regular season, 10th in the NFL. It's never been a bad unit, but when it comes to the playoffs, it never performs at the level it did during the regular season. And you can give me injuries this and injuries that, and that's certainly part of the case. They were missing linebackers, they were missing safeties, they were missing cornerbacks. Certainly the case. But, man, this was the worst Chiefs offense we've seen in this tenure. This was by far the worst Chiefs offense we've seen. Half the people are calling Travis Kelce a grandpa. They still can't cover him. The Chiefs' rushing offense was mid at best. Still can't stop it. Patrick Mahomes had no receivers all year. Still can't stop him. It really didn't matter what the Chiefs did. They averaged damn near 10 yards per play. I once again fell into the trap of believing that Sean McDermott would be prepared, that he would put together a game plan that would actually win the Bills the game and would not fall completely on the shoulders of number 17. But once again, when the game unfolded and I was giving my commentary and I was giving my analysis, I could not believe my eyes at the sight of the Chiefs having their best offensive game of the season in Buffalo, because it was supposed to be different this time. It was supposed to be different because this game was in Buffalo. This game was in front of the Mafia. It was supposed to be the 2006 redemption of Peyton Manning over the Patriots. It was supposed to be Josh Allen's Peyton Manning moment. And that's why, believe it or not, I believed that the Bills would win. A past event that I experienced as a fan of the Patriots, believed in my soul that history was about to repeat, that this was the Bills' time. But unfortunately, what I've been seeing and what I've been watching from the Bills just became true. They were not good enough. They simply were not good enough. They were outcoached. They were outperformed. They were outplayed. And I want to give a shout out to Danny O on ESPN, because he's been defending Josh Allen, and guys like Ryan Clark and others have been going after him about Josh Allen. Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, they may play it up for TV, but they're saying things like Josh Allen choked, Josh Allen's legacy, this and that. He'll never live up to Mahomes, all this stuff, right? But I want to bring up some stats that he brought up because I think they're 100% true. When you look at how Allen and the Bills' offense performed in this game, the only logical step back that you should take is, how does Sean McDermott have a job today? And you should look back and say, how can we actually get over the top with this team? And that can provide the answers. Because in the game against Kansas City, the Bills had the most first downs against the Chiefs defense of anyone this season. 27. 27. 27. They had the most 75-plus yard drives against the Chiefs in a game this season. They allowed no sacks. That was partly due to the O-line and a lot to do with Josh Allen. And they scored on 50% of their drives. On top of that, Josh Allen ran for 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Cook had a great game. How is Sean McDermott not being put to the fire? How is Sean McDermott any different than Mike McCarthy? He's practically the AFC version of Mike McCarthy. He's a coach that the Cowboys fans have criticized, not because he can't win in the regular season, not because he can't call plays on offense or defense, but because he can't get the team over the top when it matters in the playoffs. He just becomes a middling coach that can't get his team or his side of the ball properly prepared for the moment. How is it any different? When you look at Sean McDermott's track record against Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, 34 points per game in their last 4 losses in the playoffs, that's embarrassing. And that was with a healthy unit sometimes. Every team's a bit injured come playoff time. Every team's missing a player or two. For you to only reach one AFC championship game with Josh Allen having a 21-4 touchdown to interception ratio, the second best in the past 5 years, only behind Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes has made, 6 or 7 in a row? That speaks volumes to the rest of the operation, especially the coach. But a lot of people are going to say that the Bills' window is closed. And I think some of them are mistaken. Not because they don't have a point about there's only so many opportunities you have. It's only so long that Josh Allen's going to be playing at this level. But there's so many things about this football team that could be improved. When you watch the Bills, Do you watch a great roster? Do you watch a great schemed team? Because to me, as a Patriots fan from afar, I do not. I watch a team that has a great quarterback and at best a mid roster around him. Because when you go position by position, player for player, talent for talent on Kansas City versus Buffalo, and this is apparently the worst Chiefs team we've ever seen, right? Under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. The Chiefs' defense is significantly better. The Chiefs' defensive line is better. And the Bills have a good defensive line on paper. The linebacking core is far better at this point with the injury to Matt Milano. The safety core probably was a little bit better for the Bills on paper in this game just because obviously the Chiefs had some injuries at that position. The corners are by far better for Kansas City. So that's just the defense. The kicker is better for the Chiefs. The punter is better for the Chiefs. The special teams is better for the Chiefs. The receiving core in this game. Stephon Diggs is a huge issue. Not only is he a head case off the field right now and constant drama, but he has fallen off big time. This guy is not a number one receiver anymore. And it has to be stated and it has to be said. In both games against the Chiefs, he didn't show up. He was locked up. He was locked out. You couldn't find him. I was searching for him. Where you at? And in the biggest moment that he needed to make a play, he dropped the ball on one of the most impressive throws we've seen all playoffs and all year. He dropped the ball in a high leverage situation. The Chiefs receiving core, that was their weakness all year, outperformed the Bills receiving core. What does that have to say about the talent around Josh Allen? Khalil Shakir, he was the best receiver for the Bills today, and I kind of like him moving forward, but he's like a number 3. He's not a number 2. He's not a number 1. He's like a nice complementary option. Dalton Kincaid was impressive as a rookie in this game, but he's not Travis Kelce, nor should he be as a rookie. The offensive line of the Bills, this is the best offensive line I've seen for the Bills in years. But I mean, you've got kind of some cheaper options. You've got a rookie in there. You've got a veteran that's getting up there in years, Mitch Morse. You've got a really high-paid left tackle who's really good. But like everyone else is kind of like under the radar or not paid a lot of money. James Cook has developed into a really promising running back, perhaps the best of Josh Allen's career. But like, again, Chiefs have the better O-line. Chiefs have the better, like arguably the better running back, or at least they have more depth at that position. They have the better tight end. They have the better offensive scheme by a long shot. They had seemingly more depth at receiver and more guys that could make plays today, which is embarrassing. What did the Chiefs have that was not better than the Bills on that day? Like, honestly. So you look at this Bills team and you say, everyone thinks of them as being so talented and so gifted and so stacked. And it's like, bro, have you been watching the same team? Like, all I see is a bunch of old players that need to be let go. I see a bunch of replaceable guys that can be let go of, replaced by younger players, faster players, tougher players, grittier players, stronger players. Like, you look at this team, and we could go through position by position of the foundation of the team moving forward. Deion Dawkins is going to turn 30. That's a position where you can have a guy go deep into his 30s, near 40s. You see Andrew Whitworth. You see Jason Peters. You see these guys, Tyron Smith, playing at a high level late in their 30s. So he can play for a while with Josh Allen protecting his blind side, and he'll be fine. O'Cyrus Torrence seems to be a pretty solid starting guard. They signed McGovern. He's fairly young. I believe he's around 25, 26. Don't quote me on that. But he's fairly young, and he was fairly solid for them. Spencer Brown actually is improving at right tackle. He's not been great throughout his career, but you could definitely replace him, but he's not bad, and he's young. Mitch Morse, we'll have to see how that goes, but I do believe he's still under contract. He is getting up there in age. Maybe you have to add some depth to that position. You certainly have a tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Dawson Knox is certainly solid as a backup tight end. I think Shakir is certainly a piece for the future at receiver. Gabe Davis is a free agent. Diggs should be traded. You should get rid of Diggs, send him to Dallas, get some assets back in the draft. Go in free agency maybe. Pick up a Michael Pittman. Pick up a Mike Evans for a year or two. Pick up T. Higgins if you can. Or just draft one. Because I'm sure Josh Allen can make someone work. Because at this point, Diggs is a problem off the field, in the locker room, and he's not the same player. And you could maybe use his money and replenish it with multiple players of maybe lower quality, but it could actually give you multiple assets at the position. Upgrade over Gabe Davis, who's always been overrated because he had one good game in the playoffs, and then maybe around the same level of what you got from Diggs this year. Like, the running back position, James Cook's the starter. Whoever else you can find as a backup running back, who cares? Right? So the offense is going to be good. You've got Josh Allen. It's always going to be good. The question is, who's your play caller going to be next year? Is it going to be Brady? I thought he called a good game today. I think he certainly can be a solid OC in this league. Is he great? No, which is another thing. The coaching. Like, the Chiefs have one of the greatest coaches of all time and one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL right now. Sean McDermott could easily be removed, could easily be replaced, and easily be upgraded. If you told me Mike Vrabel was the coach of the Bills next year, I'd give them an instant bump up. They'd be better. If you told me Bill Belichick was the coach of the Bills next year, I'd instantly give them a bump up, especially when it came to playoff defense. Are you kidding? If you told me that Ben Johnson was the coach, if you told me that Bobby Slowick was taking over as the play caller and the coach, if you told me that, I don't know, Mike McDonald was the coach, instant upgrade of defense. There's so many coaches out there right now. Jim Harbaugh. Give me Jim Harbaugh. How many different coaches are free agents right now that would love to work with Josh Allen that would be better than Sean McDermott? Like, let's be honest here. And then you look at the defensive side of the football. There's questions to be asked about Micah Hyde's a free agent. Jordan Poyer's old. It appears that Jordan Poyer is going to stick around, although I think he's slow and definitely deteriorating, not the same player he was 2 years ago. But he's still a starting caliber safety. You might have to kind of tick his snaps down a little bit, which is why you brought in Taylor Rapp, who also was hurt for this game. Micah Hyde, I'd try to keep around on a one-year contract if you can, but you certainly need to replenish that position, get faster at that position, get younger at that position. That's not that hard to do. It is hard to find another Micah Hyde, but it isn't hard to find the Micah Hyde of right now, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The corner position, I think, is actually in a pretty good spot. Benford will be back from injury next year, who's a, third year after this season? Going into next year, it's going to be his third year. So he's on a rookie contract. Tre'Davious White should be back and healthy, and I believe he is signed, although I don't know what he's going to be. And Rasul Douglas will be around. So you'll have a pretty quality depth chart along with Teron Johnson, who I am not 100% sure if he's a free agent or not. But regardless, I think he should be around in Buffalo. And then you look at the linebacking core. It does look like Dodson's going to be a free agent. I'd love to bring him back. Bernard is a good player. I personally think so as a number 2 or 3 linebacker. Matt Milano is your best defensive player. Did not play all year, basically. He'll be back. He's your best defensive player. And he'll be your best defensive player. I'm not worried about him coming back from injury. The defensive line has got 2 foundational pieces. Gregory Rousseau and Ed Oliver. Everyone else doesn't matter as much. Daquan Jones was nice to have when he was playing at his peak early in the year, but it's hard to say he's going to replicate that. Maybe he comes back on like a veteran 1-year contract. He's older, so you bring him back maybe potentially. Von Miller's got to go. You could easily replace Leonard Floyd, although he was solid for you. Like, there's so many players that people are worried about them losing. I'm like, dude, get younger, get faster. Get stronger. Like, play with more energy. Look at what the Chiefs were able to do. Replace Tyrann Mathieu. Right? Like, replace Daniel Sorensen. Replace Frank Clark. Like, these guys that were getting older and their play was deteriorating, they went out, they replaced them with younger players. The Bills got to do the same thing. And I think they can. Honestly, like, I think the Bills can be a better team next year than this year if they make the correct steps with roster management. And that's not even to get me started about coaching, where I still believe they should think about making a move. Because like I said, McDermott is the McCarthy of the AFC. He'll take you to the playoffs. He won't get you over the top. So again, if you thought Josh Allen was the problem, think about what I've said. Think about what I've said. The roster isn't nearly as good as it's given credit for. This roster that isn't as good as people think was injured in the game against the Chiefs. They nearly beat the Chiefs. And they could easily improve. I'm not worried about the cap situation because a bunch of the guys that are going to be let go are older and honestly replaceable. So, like, no, don't panic, Bills Mafia. You're going to be back. You're going to be back. As long as you have Josh Allen, you're going to be window wide open, not slammed shut. But you've got to make the right moves. Maybe it won't be next year. Maybe it won't be the year after that. But Josh Allen is going to keep taking you to the playoffs. And eventually, if you put the right pieces in place, you're going to make a run. You've been patient. You will be rewarded. Stay with me. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. Gronk spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. It's Mitch of the BLV. See you soon. Peace.